Head over to miniaturemarket.com where they have thousands of board games at discounted prices like Shamans. Shamans is a trick-taking game mixed with hidden identity. You might be good or bad, but you're going to be playing cards, trying to get 8 points after multiple rounds to be the winner. You'll be playing tricks as normal, but you don't have to follow suit, and if you don't, it's going to move this token towards the moon. If it ever gets there, all the bad players win the round immediately and get 3 points. The lowest card thrown by the lead suit, that player gets one of these tokens with special abilities, or even a hidden one, like moving this one way or another whenever they want, or even revealing their role to everyone to show them who they really are. And when the last card of a suit's played, you get to activate that suit's ability, which is sometimes done by following suit, but other times can be played off suit to finish it off. If you're a bad guy, that's a great move. And you can use that ability to use one of your stab tokens to eliminate a player, revealing their role. But you gotta be careful because every card that player still holds if they were good moves this one spot, and again, if it gets to the moon, the bad guys won the round. But if you've killed the last shadow player, then all the good players will win and get 2 points. Be the first to get 8 points and you win the game. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. This game is truly unique and fresh. Like, what hidden identity game do you want to kill somebody on your own side? In this game, you do want to do that sometimes to make sure they don't win even though you're on the same team as them. What? It's mind-bending. You can even score even if you don't are on the winning side, if you have the right tokens. There's a lot of interesting dynamics with roles and testing people by passing them certain cards. This game has some amazing different gaming, heuristics that just makes it off the chart. If you like trick taking and you like hidden identity, I think you're gonna love this game. Now on the negative side of things, shuffling the tokens is a little awkward. They could have just been cards. The cards should have had numbers on the bottoms of them because you have to play them, look at them face up. There's some vague rules about the communicating. You just can't say exactly what card you have essentially. And I wish there was a player aid with the token distribution. If you don't like trick taking and you don't like hidden identity, this isn't the game for you. But if you like both of those, I think you'll love it. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, you might be on the good side, the Shamans, or you might find yourselves on the bad side, the Shadows. But with that mixed together, that hidden identity, also mixed with trick taking. What? Yes, check out Shamans. This is for 3 to 5 players. I'm going to show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. Shamans is a trick-taking game for 3 to 5 players where some of you are going to be on the good team, Shamans, and some of you might be on the bad team, the Shadows. Depending on the amount of players, there'll be 1 or 2 of these, and you're going to be playing tricks of different colors, and you're trying to get 8 points and be the first one to get that many to win the game. The game is played over multiple rounds. If you're on the good team, the Shamans, and you're alive, and that team wins, each of the alive ones are going to get 2 points. But instead, if the Shadow wins the round, they're alone going to get 3 points. This is a 4-player game shown with just 1 Shadow. But each Shadow would get 3 points if they won in a 5-player game. And you're trying to get to 8 or be the first one to get there, or if more players have 8, have the most. Now, the good team will win if you're able to play all the cards that are dealt in that round before this gets all the way to the moon. Also, if you kill all the Shadows, well, then the good team wins that round as well. And the Shadow player is trying to get this moon all the way to here. If so, they're gonna win the round. And that's pretty much how it's played. So someone's going to lead a trick by playing a card, and then the next player will play. You don't have to follow suit at all in this game, but we'll tell you why you'd want to or not want to in just a moment. Let's say the next player goes, and they don't follow suit. If you don't follow suit, it's quite suspicious. Because when that happens, it immediately gets placed next to its suit spot on the board, and it's going to move 1 towards the moon, which is good for the bad team. And let's say the last player played this. Once it's finished, we look at who played the lowest and the highest of the lead suit. Now they'll all go to the green spot because these are green cards. And again, that lowest player is going to get to select from one of these. They're going to be able to take one of these face up, or they can take a random one off the top. And most of the time it's going to be kept secret. I'll go over some of these later, but things like this allow you to at any time, you can spend this and you can move this one place, either back or forwards towards the moon, and that will, this could be used at the right time to really end the game, especially if you're a bad one, and it's like right here, you could play this if you had it, and boom, end the round and win it. So these are pretty important parts of the game. Now I've added some more cards here just to show you what else would happen is the person that played the highest card of the lead suit will lead the next trick. But if also it was the last card here, in this case, there's 6 cards in a 4-player game in each suit. If they played the largest number of the lead suit and it's the last card, you get to activate the ability of that specific spot. In this case, well, it looks like a little stabby, which means if you had one of these in front of you, you must use it and kill somebody. Well, hopefully you know which one is on the other team. And when you kill someone, they must flip over their roll, and if you're on the good team and you killed another good player, for every card that they have in their hand, well, the moon goes down once. So if they had 4 cards on their hand, and it was like this, well, guess what? You just helped the bad guys win the round. But if you kill the shadow instead, and that was the only shadow like in a 4-player game, well, the round would end and all the good players that are still not, still alive, meaning they didn't get killed earlier in that round, they'd all get 2. So that's pretty much generally how the game works. Let's talk about some of these other token abilities. We already talked about this, but I told you that sometimes you could take one face down, and then if you operate that ability that we talked about in that green board spot, you can decide to use this or not if it's not revealed. These, if you get 2 of these and you're alive at the end of the game of that round, you'll get 2 extra points. Those are pretty good. This one is, well, if you take this, you have to flip over your roll card. A lot of times you don't want that to happen, but sometimes if people don't believe you and you really want them to, well, you can do that. And by the way, this is the only one that if you take when it's face down, you must flip it up and do its thing. And sometimes this eclipse will come out. It's double-sided. You shuffle it in after you reveal the first 2. And this one will tell you to pass a card to the left or the right, which can really change things up. Let's talk about the board abilities. Again, these trigger in one of 2 ways. Either if the last card of that suit gets laid, and it was from a followed suit, the one who played the highest card in that suit would get to do this. But another one is, if that last card happens to be someone that played off suit, they'd also get to do it, in addition to moving this moon because they played off suit. So that's another powerful way for a shadow to make a really strong play towards the end of the game. Now this allows them to either take one of these, like a normal way, as I mentioned, or they can move this back towards the, away from the moon. This one we already talked about. This one allows you to swap roles with somebody, which can be pretty fun. This one over here allows you just to get a single point. Again, at the end of a round, if anyone has 8 points, they win. If more than one player has 8 points, whoever has the most wins. If it's tied, you keep playing. Now, one little piece of strategy I haven't told you yet is sometimes you're on the same team as somebody, and you can tell that, if you both are alive at the end of the game at that round, the other player's going to win. So sometimes you'll end up killing somebody who's even on your team, which is an interesting twist to the game. Shamans is a very unique game, and I don't know why. Very unique is kind of redundant. It's a unique game. It's like nothing I've ever played. I love hidden identity games. I love trick-taking games, and this implements it very well. So it definitely feels unique because sometimes, unlike most other hidden identity games, you actually want to kill somebody on your own side, which is like mind-blowing because they might be able to win if you're on the good side and they're going to win with you and they have more points than you and they're going to win the game, and you actually end up trying to kill someone on your team, which is really cool. But the game itself has just so many interesting things going on. The aspect of, hey, you don't have to follow suit. It's a pretty standard trick-taking game, but that big twist is pretty big. It's like, you don't have to follow suit ever. But if you don't, it's kind of suspicious. And you're like, oh, don't throw any more yellows. Don't do it. And you can do table talk, like, I can't follow. And then later on, like, you throw another yellow and they're like, oh my gosh, last card yellow, you're definitely a bad guy. I can't kill you right now, darn it. Stuff like that. So there's some really interesting play that goes on here. And it's not like some other hidden identity games where, like, once you're found out, the game's over. Like, you can be found out which role you are. Some of the times you're swapping roles. Some of the times you're flipping over your roll card. And even if people know who you are for sure, it doesn't end the game. Because tactically, you still have to fulfill your obligation to what your side needs to do to win. It might make it easier for other players to kind of work together once they know who's who, but it doesn't end the game, and I think that's cool too. You still have to sort of like put the nail in the coffin yourself from a tactical standpoint in order to do things like that. Now, you can also still score even if your side doesn't win, because if you're alive, let's say you're a shaman and you're alive at the end of the round, You weren't eliminated, but the shadows won. Well, you can still get points from some of those 2 tokens. Now, there's only 3 of them in the stack, and you need 2 of those 3. It's hard to get, but if you get them, I think that's a cool aspect too. It can really give you a leg up where you score and none of the other players on your team scored. But of course, the other team, the shadows would have scored in that case. This game, there's a lot of interesting dynamics with the roles because there could be a time where, like, you know what, this player, I can test them. I can, because sometimes you have to pass cards to the left or the right. And you can pass them cards. Like, maybe pass them cards that only cards off suit, and then you're going to lead with that suit and see, you know what, I passed them a yellow, I'm going to lead with the yellow. Let's see what happens. Are they going to play on suit or are they going to play off suit? Let's test them in a spot that they really want to do something else. So there's a lot of interesting things that you can do in this game dynamically. So, and in that case, when I did something like this, they played the on-suit thing, and I killed a different player, and it turns out that player was bad, and they were just messing with me. So it's kind of cool. So overall, this game is again unique. It's fresh. If you like hidden identity and you like trick-taking games, you got to play this. Now, I will say it's definitely better with more players. It works with 3. But it's not quite like amazing. It doesn't shine as bright as the game can shine with 3. Because, if someone flips over their roll, everyone knows who everyone is. If one roll gets passed, everyone knows who everyone is. And again, it's not the end of the game when that happens, but it's still a little more interesting when there is some intrigue there. So it works with 3, but it's really best with more players. Also, on the negative side, the shuffling the tokens. I don't like that aspect. There's one that's double-sided, that you shuffle the other ones and you put the 2 out and then you shuffle the double-sided one out. It's hard to shuffle tokens and it's hard not to see that double-sided thing. I would have rather just seen them, why not just have a small little deck of cards, like Ticket to Ride size? Just put them there with the cards and put them there. Shuffling cards is way more easy than shuffling tokens. And it's probably cheaper too, who knows. But I wish those were cards instead of tokens because it's kind of a pain to shuffle tokens. Plus you could sleeve cards if you really wanted to. Also, that brings me to another thing is, speaking of sleeving, I'm definitely going to have to sleeve at least the roll cards here because they're already starting to get a little nicked up and, haven't had the game that long, but we played it quite a bit, but, you're going to need some sleeves there because you can see the cards. They're not, they're not linen finish or anything like that. It looks like they might be a little more susceptible to stuff like that, but it's okay. The game's awesome. There's also a very vague but specific rules about communicating on cards. It was like, in the rules it said something like, you could say anything you want about your cards, but you can't say anything about the number or color. It's like, well, what else would I possibly say about this? So I contacted the publisher and they're like, you can't say my 2 cards are the yellow 6 and the gray 3. That's not allowed. But you could be like, hey, don't leave with yellow, I don't have any. Stuff like that. You kind of like say things, but you can't say exact things. Plus, what you say, who knows if they'll believe you or not, right? There could definitely use a player aid with the token distribution, meaning how many tokens are in that thing. After a few plays, you actually kind of know, like, hey, I know there's 3 of those ones that do this. I know that there's five swords. I know that there's 2 things that flip rolls over. Like, you'll know after you play the games 2 or 3 times, but it'd be nice for new players to have a player that tells you how many of each of those tokens there are. And if you don't like trick-taking and hidden identity, both of these, this likely isn't going to be the game for you, but if you do like both of those things, I think you're going to love this game. So it's going to be a very polarizing game. For all these reasons, it's definitely getting my highest seal of approval, which is my patented Saxophone Serenade, where I'm going to jam on my saxophone to induct it into the library, because when I do that, I got to get rid of a game. So let's, in an honorary way, let's hit it. Game Toppers not only transforms your existing table to a high-quality gaming solution, they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with their amazing, thematic, premium stitch edge mats from noted board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and really cool accessories, it's a complete system that upgrades every game you play. Go to GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below. You don't want the shadows to get the marker. The moon. The shadows are trying to get this marker all the way to the moon to win. Now, today. Hello, my friends. It's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we have something unique. You might be on the good side, trying to be. They're not trying to be a shaman. They are a shaman.